everyone, at 1995 here in the video game fanfic plot with a new chapter for you all. In Attack on Prime, remember, I do not own the Transformers Prime series or the Attack on Titan, and I give full credit to its author melishade on Wattpad and fanfiction.net. Now onto the story. Before the expedition, part 1. Ren looked in slight awe at the new location for the Survey Corps. The castle was pretty dirty, but it was huge. He got off of his horse and tied the rope to the post so the horse wouldn't run off. He looked over to see Peter and Dalla bickering about biting tongues and pretending to be Levi. He also saw Eld and Gunter walking towards the castle. Ren wasn't really focused on that though. He was more focused on the fact that these guys, or Levi's squad, they were the best of the best and chosen by Levi himself, and were also the ones who could kill him if he ever goes on a rampage. But there was also. Ren looked over to see the red caravan come to a stop, before it shifted into the Metal Titan, or rather Optimus Prime. Optimus stood up fully before he began to stretch his arms. "I'm not going to get used to that," Ren heard Eld remark. Ren glanced back at Optimus before turning away. He really didn't trust him at all. He probably would have said because Optimus was a Titan, but almost everyone else considered him a Titan as well, even if he was born human. But it wasn't even Ren's fault that he was like this. Every time he tried to remember, he would end up having a huge headache. At the worst, he would pass out. And even if Optimus did help humanity, who knows when he'll turn on them. But after what he did in the courtroom, he was a little unsure. "Optimus Prime, you will be handed over to the Survey Corps," Zackley declared. "Understood, Your Honor," Optimus said. Ren widened his eyes as Optimus walked over to him, causing everyone to whisper in confusion. Ren looked over to see Optimus pull the metal rod that held him down. Ren didn't realize how weak he felt after Levi beat him up. He almost fell over, but Optimus caught him before he hit the floor. "Are you all right?" Optimus asked. Ren was about to answer, but he winced in pain. Optimus then carefully lifted Ren to his feet. "Hey, what are you doing?" the merchant demanded. "Why are you helping that monster?" "Monster or not, as far as I am concerned, he's not a threat. I simply see him as someone who needs medical attention," Optimus calmly told him. Ren widened his eyes in shock. Why was he helping him? They didn't know each other, yet the Titan was helping him. Who was this guy? Ren wasn't really sure if he could trust him. No matter how many lives he saved, he really wasn't sure. Ren looked back at Optimus, only to find him looking down at him while stretching. Ren quickly turned around in embarrassment before Optimus could notice. Optimus quirked an eyebrow as he noticed Ren turning away. Optimus mentally sighed. Knowing from past experiences, it would take a while for the humans to trust him, especially ones in the military, since they were more cautious. But he noticed that everyone was high-strung and on alert, even if they didn't like it. "Looks like it was back to square one. Look at all the weeds," Eld observed. "What a mess." "It hasn't been used for years," Gunter reminded. "Inside is probably covered in dust." "That's a serious problem. We'll begin immediately," Levi proclaimed. Optimus was confused. "Begin what?" Optimus slightly deadpanned. He really did not expect cleaning. He understood the conditions of the building would not be suitable for a human to live in, but Levi was taking this very seriously. While the rest of the humans were responsible for the inside and the windows, he was responsible for moving heavy objects, and for some reason, taking the vines off of the walls. From fighting to cleaning, it was weird, but he preferred this better than fighting. But this place, the Survey Corps, was rather odd. There was an ambiguous commander, a man who bites his tongues at odd times, a clean freak, a Titan shifter, and the Myco-Silas combo. Optimus mentally sighed. It's like you have to be crazy to survive this world. But if this was the way to gain their trust, he might as well just comply to this. Optimus looked over at a window to see someone quickly hide behind it. Optimus kept a blank expression. If Ren was trying to observe him without getting caught, he needs to do a better job at it. Optimus heard a yelp as he saw the man Eld slip and almost fall off the roof, but he caught him in his servos. "Are you all right?" Optimus asked as he slowly set him on the ground. "Yeah," Eld answered rather awkwardly as he got off of his servos, "thanks for the save." "Hey lovebirds," Levi called out through a window, "get back to cleaning." Optimus sighed before walking to the side of the castle. This was going to be a long day. "Erwin, do you really think it's wise to talk about our strategies to him?" Mike asked as the two walked down the hall. "So far I don't see the problem," Erwin answered. He was a commanding officer. It could be beneficial if his experiences help us in our missions. "But he could use that against us," Mike retorted. "With or without it, Optimus can destroy humanity with what he already has," Erwin explained, "but he said that he has no reason to attack humankind." "I'm still unsure about it," Mike said, "even though there isn't any malice from him." "Then you shouldn't have much to worry about," Erwin reassured. "And that's what scares me," Mike admitted. The two arrived outside of the castle to see Optimus carrying logs of woods and stacking them. "Optimus," Erwin called out. Optimus stopped and looked down to see Erwin and Mike looking at him. "Commander Erwin," Optimus greeted. "You mentioned before that you didn't know much about our world," Erwin recalled. "That is correct," Optimus answered. "I would like to discuss with you more about humankind's history. And with your military experience, you could help us with strategies on receiving checkpoints and reclaiming Wall Maria," Erwin explained. Optimus was silent for a moment before he transformed into his alt mode. Erwin slightly widened his eyes while Mike kept a neutral expression as Optimus' holoform appeared. "Where do we begin?" Optimus asked. Optimus watched as Erwin opened a door to a form of office. Optimus looked around to see books stacked against shelves. There was sunlight from the window shining down on an armor suit that was in a corner. He noticed a desk in the middle of the room that had a sketch of some sort of formation. "The sketch," Optimus began. "It's a formation we use when scouting in Wall Maria," Erwin explained as he walked over to the chair and sat down. "We use this to avoid Titans so there would be less casualties, but the casualties are always an average of 30%. "The Titans, what are they exactly?" Optimus asked. "We're unsure. It was said over a century ago that they appeared, pushing humanity to the brink of extinction. The surviving humans built 3 walls, Maria, Rose, and Cena. Humanity has endured a century of peace until the colossal and armored Titan broke through Wall Maria." Erwin explained, "We've lost Wall Maria to the Titans, and we've been trying to regain it by sealing the breach, but we haven't made it that far. And after Rand sealed the breach in trust, the route that's been made for the past 5 years has gone to waste. So if you can reach the wall and seal the breach, then you shall regain the territory you have lost," Optimus assumed. Erwin nodded his head. "I want to know if there are any changes that need to be made." Optimus looked at the paper and studied the formation. "There is no flaw within the formation. I feel as though the only issue is technology. Your race does not have weapons that can easily kill the Titans. If you had advanced technology on your missions, there would be less casualties." "I see," Erwin said, "you mentioned in the courtroom that you would help us create more weapons." "It depends on the resources here," Optimus retorted as he picked up a book from the shelf. "However, I am concerned whether or not the weaponry falls into the wrong hands. I do not wish for a civil war to happen amongst your kind." "We're going to have to be careful with technology then," Erwin assumed. Optimus nodded his head. "Erwin, when are we going on our next expedition?" Mike asked. "In 30 days," Erwin answered. "Isn't that too sudden?" Mike asked. "Maybe, but we need to prove that Ren and Optimus are helpful to humanity," Erwin explained. "If we don't, the police will." "You're an ambiguous man, Commander Erwin," Optimus cut off without looking up from the book, "but it's not hard to see through your lie." Erwin looked at Optimus in shock while Mike kept a neutral expression. "He's right," Mike agreed, "don't try and use that trick." Erwin smirked. "You two are very sharp." "I was never deluded in the art of deception," Optimus explained as he put the book back. but what are you truly aiming for in your expedition? I'll tell you both when the time comes, Erwin answered. Optimus heard a zapping noise and looked at the holoform's hand to see it losing shape. It would seem I need to disperse my holoform, Optimus observed. That then has a limit, Mike asked in surprise. Optimus nodded his head before looking at Erwin. I will speak with you another time, Commander. I look forward to it, Erwin said. Optimus turned away before the holoform dispersed into blue sparks. I'm not going to get used to that, Mike admitted. Neither am I, Erwin agreed, but we still gained a valuable ally to humanity. Optimus looked up at the starry night while all the other humans remained inside the castle. There was one thing Optimus did enjoy about Earth, and it was the stars. Just looking at them reminded him of Cybertron during the Golden Age. Cybertron, Optimus thought before shaking his helm. The Autobots were fine. They were fine. He didn't have anything to worry about, even if he did feel homesick as the humans would call it. He really did miss Cybertron, and even when they got it back, he had to sacrifice himself so that new life could emerge on Cybertron. He was going to sound selfish, but all he wanted was to live out his remaining life in peace. But it didn't matter now. The humans need his help and he will sacrifice his life so that they can be free. If Primus did send him here, he completely understood why. Optimus was snapped out of his thoughts when he heard a grumbling noise from his stomach. I have not had energon, Optimus realized. He looked through his data and saw that he had enough energon to last him a while, but he still had to find more. He ran a scan throughout the area and found that there was a decent amount of energon pockets nearby. How he was able to detect energon without a tracker was probably because of Primus. But he probably couldn't leave the area unsupervised. He would have to go with someone, and the only person that would want to go would be. Hi, Optimus. A voice called out. The Survey Corps squad leader Hanji Zoe. Optimus turned around to see Hanji waving at him while holding a flame torch in her hand. Wow, your eyes can glow in the dark, Hanji observed. I see that you are back from your experimentation, Optimus remarked. Optimus remembered hearing that Hanji is experimenting on 2 Titans that were captured in Trost. Yep. I would love to stay and chat, but I need to speak with Ren about tomorrow's experiments. Do you know where he's at? Hanji asked. Inside the castle, Optimus answered. Thanks. Titan, here I come. Hanji yelled with excitement as she ran inside. Optimus groaned quietly. If Titans weren't going to be the death of him, this woman would be. She? Ren questioned. They all heard a yell as someone slammed into the door. Peter walked over and opened the door to reveal Hanji rubbing her head. Well then, hey, Squad Levi, Hanji greeted as she recovered and waved. I thought you were experimenting with the Titans, or would be tinkering with Optimus, Levi remarked casually. I just couldn't wait, and I barely had any time to talk to Ren, Hanji explained as she walked over to Ren. I came to talk to you about joining me with experiments tomorrow. But what are you going to? Something so cool. Hanji cut off with excitement, so I came to ask permission. I can't exactly grant permission to myself. Ren explained. Levi, what's Ren doing tomorrow? Hanji asked. Cleaning the courtyard, Levi answered. Alright then, Hanji smiled before holding Ren's hand. Ren, see you tomorrow. But what exactly are we going to experiment? Ren slightly raised his voice in confusion at her action. What exactly are we going to experiment on? Hey, stop. Allah warned, don't ask her something like that. Ah, I knew it. I knew you looked interested to learn, Hanji smiled. Levi put his cup on the table before getting up and walking out of the room while everyone else followed the suite. Well then, let me tell you about the 2 boys we caught, Hanji began as she sat down. Optimus heard the doors open and looked down to see the woman Peter walk outside with a torch. What are you doing up this late? Optimus asked, shouldn't you be asleep at this time? I was just going to check up on the horses. Peter answered rather awkwardly, Don't you think you should sleep too? I could not sleep, Optimus admitted. What about your comrades? They went to sleep, Peter answered, except for Ren. Where is Ren? Optimus asked. With Hanji, Peter answered. Optimus kept a blank expression as there was silence. I am compelled if I should help him or not, Optimus admitted. Unless you want to be kept up for the rest of the night, Peter said before walking away. Optimus looked over at the castle and sighed. May Primus bless his soul. Ren stared off into space as the circles under his eyes got darker. He could still hear Hanji actively talking about the Titans. When they started the conversation, Ren was really interested in learning about the Titans, or Sonny and Bean. But as they continued the conversation, Ren grew tedious by the minute while Hanji just chronically talking.